Hi everyone, my name is Karim. So I don't want to alarm anyone, but I'm a stutterer. I know, right? Who brought on a stutterer to speak? I promise you'll be home for dinner tomorrow. No. Most of my stuttering is gone now, but stuttering was a big part of my life growing up. And I remember just constantly feeling so embarrassed by my friends because I couldn't get the words out. And I was just so ashamed by being judged by them, and I didn't know what to do. So what I did was most of the time is that I just chose not to talk at all. I would strategically try and use the fewest amount of words as possible so I wasn't embarrassed or I didn't feel shamed by it. The problem with that as well is that I couldn't really express myself. I couldn't tell people how I felt or what I wanted. Even with speech therapy, I struggled, and it really ruined my confidence. Now, you may not know this about stutterers, but give us a song to sing or ask me to play out a movie, and the stuttering is gone. Magic, right? So I spent most of my days singing songs to words that I didn't know or acting out movie scenes to one of my favorite heroes, because in that moment I felt free. On top of having a stutter, I was 40 kilograms overweight, going bald by 30, living at home with my parents. I was George Costanza with a stutter. Life was really loving me, right? If I could get a date, I would try and act mysterious as possible, just so I didn't have to talk as much. But then I acted and sounded really weird by the end of it. You may not have a verbal stutter like me, but I know that there are those that I'd like to refer to as having an inner stutter. An inner stutter is when you know what you want. You may even know what the next step is to take, but you feel stuck. Your ability to go from where you are to where you want to go is glitchy. And it feels like you're hesitating. Like maybe you're even stumbling. I'm the type of guy that's curious about everything. And I've always wanted to know why about most things in my life. So when I made the decision that I was going to overcome my stutter, I asked myself 3 important questions. Why, when I sang, did my stutter disappear? Why, when I acted like others, did my stutter disappear? And why, when I acted like me, my stutter stayed? I started to understand that as I was singing or acting, I would have internal images of the songs or movies playing, and I would act out like those people. So it stopped whenever I wasn't being me. I further learned that these images came from my unconscious mind. It was like a hard drive of all my memories and beliefs, and I wasn't even aware that it was there. I found that by using hypnosis, that it could be a key into tapping into my unconscious mind. A study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that hypnosis is one of many ways that we can learn more about the unconscious brain. At the age of 2, although my parents had a really successful business, they were persecuted and left Egypt. They left Egypt without a job, money, or even the language. That's a story for another day. It wasn't long until we came to Australia. 3 years later, I was in prep. And I was the only Egyptian in the class. And the kids just decided that they didn't want to like me. And remember that I'm a stutterer, or I was a stutterer. So I had a stutter, and the teachers didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know how to help. They thought that I just couldn't speak English. It wasn't that I couldn't speak English. I was just so scared and terrified and exhausted of how I sounded and what I looked like that I just chose not to speak. I still remember that time like it was yesterday. It was prep. Mrs. Karen asked me a question, and she said that the right answer would get the class an extra 10 minutes of play. I was so excited. It was a perfect opportunity for me to be liked again by the kids in the class. So I got up and I started to speak, but my lips were pressed. My brain was not allowing the words to come out, and I felt so embarrassed. From that moment on, I learned not to express myself. It was just too scary and too painful. So here we are, back to George Costanza, 30-something-year-old, balding, living with parents, just about to embark on his breakthrough with hypnotherapy. I could finally see. It was like a light bulb coming inside of me, turning on. I could finally see the mess in the aisles. But as well, I could finally see the truth. The practitioner took me to a place into my unconscious mind where I thought that I could never go to. He took me to a place where I thought that I couldn't possibly remember. I allowed myself to feel. I allowed myself to feel angry. I allowed myself to feel sad. I even allowed myself to feel scared. Because from that moment on, I kept numbing these emotions with eating. But in that moment, I did something differently. I felt. And I was allowing myself to feel. And through these sessions, it was a mixture and a combination of the Dr. DeMartini process and hypnotherapy and timeline therapy. I started to express myself more, and my stutter drastically improved. I didn't have to sing or act like someone else. I could be me. I could express my own thoughts. I could express my own emotions without having to stutter. I was able to release my negative emotions that I'd been holding on to for so long. Thoughts and ideas about my teachers, thinking, why didn't you help me? Why didn't you protect me? And also thoughts about the kids of, why wasn't I liked? Why didn't I have any friends? And I could finally see with clarity that the teachers were just trying to do their best with the resources they have. They had no other intention other than to help me. The kids were just being kids. They don't know how to hate. I could see that I was loved and cared for. I was safe. And what I thought I was suppressing through talking, I was actually expressing through singing and acting. And so nothing was ever missing. In fact, those tough times proved to be a benefit to me and the resilience that I have today. Those times I had to really work hard to make friends were a benefit to me. I created my craft to be able to connect with others and create genuine, long-lasting friendships, which I still have to this day. And I wouldn't give it up for the world. Today I'm able to connect with everyone from all backgrounds. I benefited from all of this. It's even the reason why I'm here today doing a TEDx. And you don't have to go through this hypnosis for you to feel the same, or for you to get the same clarity. You don't have to go through that to look inward within yourself. But I invite you to ask yourself two important questions. What are the positive insights that you can see from those events without judgment that would help you let go of that suppressed emotion? How did that moment benefit you up until today? Living this way could be so beneficial to everyone, to the growth of humans and mankind, and the quality of life that we get to experience. I'd like to propose to you today that you may not have a verbal stutter like I did, but you may have an inner stutter. When we think about the next step in life that we need to take, it may be applying for the next promotion, taking the next step in expanding your business, or wanting to break the record in your field, or maybe just getting out of that toxic relationship that you've got going on at the moment. And we feel like we're stuttering. And maybe acting like others may take your stutter away short term. Or maybe you've resorted to staying quiet and suppressing what you really wanted to say or do. But deep down, you feel there is something missing. Ask yourself, when you sing, why does your stutter disappear? When you act like someone else, why does your stutter disappear? And when being yourself, why does your stutter continue? And you don't have to go through hypnotherapy to just go inward and explore. I invite you to ask yourself the two questions that changed my life. What are the positive insights that you can see from those events that would help you let go of that suppressed emotion? And how did that moment benefit you? Living this way could be beneficial to your growth as humans and the quality of life that we get to experience. I remember laying in bed, feeling really crappy, hating the world. Why is the world doing this to me? And I remember saying that once I knew how to get rid of my internal stutter, I'd want to share it with the world. And here I am. I overcame my stutter by accepting the full spectrum of emotions. That I felt safe to feel sad. I felt safe to feel angry. Imagine a world where there were no good or bad emotions, that we were able to feel what we needed to feel. That it was okay. That men, especially all around the world, were allowed to feel what they needed to feel. As you can see, this process helped me with my stutter and with my invitation, with your inner stutter. I came on stage bravely to speak to this global TEDx audience as an Egyptian guy, talking openly about their emotions. While I was describing my story, you may have had images from your past flash in your mind, or emotions that you haven't felt in a while, all without even realizing it. This is the power of the unconscious mind. It makes you do things without you even being aware. Follow those flashes and follow those emotions. It will lead you to a path of expression and expansion of increasingly rich life. This method is so powerful that, according to the university of my wife, I've gone from being George Costanza to George Clooney. everything is possible. Thank you, you've been great.